From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Supreme Court puts final stamp on Edo polls. Okpebolo is governor. Ighodalo concedes with reservations. Vice President Shettima opens old chapters, recalls being a target during the Goodluck Jonathan era at Abuja book launch. Senate sweeps out Natasha Akpoti-Dohan from committee leadership. New chair takes the helm. And UK and France strike migrant pact. One in, one out policy aims to stem channel crossings.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's pension fund assets hit 24.1 trillion naira in May, up from 23.65 trillion naira in April, amid strategic portfolio rebalancing.
On sports news tonight, Amanda Anisimova stands world #1 Aryna Sabalenka to reach her first Wimbledon final and faces Polish 8th seed Iga Świątek in Saturday's final.
And from the nation's capital, the Kaduna state government holds education summit, unveils plans to return 300,000 out-of-school children to the classroom.
It's the end of a long political battle in Edo State, and the final word has come from the highest court in the land. Now, the Supreme Court has upheld the election of Senator Monday Okpebolo as governor of Edo State, bringing jubilation to the APC camp. In a unanimous decision, the 5-member panel, led by Justice Mohammed Garba, ruled that the PDP and its candidate, Asue Ighodalo, failed to prove their case of electoral malpractice, including allegations of overvoting and non-compliance with the Electoral Act. The court said the appeal lacked substance and, more importantly, lacked credible evidence. Channels Television's Emanuela Ekele has more on the judgment that has officially closed this chapter in Edo State politics.
After months of legal tussle, the Supreme Court convenes to deliver judgment on who won the last Edo governorship election. The People's Democratic Party in the state and its candidate, Mr. Asue Ighodalo, had filed an appeal at the Apex Court, seeking to invalidate the verdict of the Court of Appeal, which dismissed his case and affirmed the election of Governor Monday Okpebolo. The PDP candidate maintained that the appellate court failed to properly evaluate his case, challenging the outcome of the election, which he insisted was not conducted with substantial compliance to provisions of the Electoral Act. Delivering the judgment, the Supreme Court held that it found no reason to set aside the judgment of both the Court of Appeal and the Election Petition Tribunal, which returned Mr. Okpebolo as a winner of the Edo governorship election. The Apex Court held that Mr. Ighodalo failed to bring credible and admissible evidence to substantiate his claim that the election was marred by irregularities, including overvoting and non-compliance with provisions of the Electoral Act. It further held that the appellant failed to call relevant witnesses to demonstrate some of the evidence he tendered in support of his case, especially the beavers machines. It held that some of the proof of evidence which were tendered were merely dumped on the tribunal without establishing alleged non-compliance in 432 out of a total of 4,519 polling units in the state. After the judgment, the APC supporters celebrate outside the courtroom.
The case is now over, and it's time for us to build Edo in line with our campaign promises, we have promised Edo people that we're going to transform them. And now that the case is over, we thank everybody. But most importantly, we want to go back to build our state, to unite everybody in line with what the governor believed in. He wants to bring everybody, regardless of your political party, wants to bring everybody together for the interests of Edo people.
The Edo State PDP also reacts to the judgment.
Let's remain united for the journey of nation building or making Edo prosper. It's a long one. So this is just a hurdle on our part. Let us not begrudge anybody. Let us stay united. Let us stay peaceful, because the future for all of us is very bright.
This judgment finally brings to an end all tussle on Edo governorship election. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
Fresh from a Supreme Court victory, Governor Monday Okpebholo is calling it more than just a win. It's a call to higher service. Now, the governor says the judgment is a renewed mandate from the people of Edo and a green light to push forward with unity, growth and inclusiveness. We're grateful to the judiciary and the people. Governor Okpebholo is extending an olive branch to his rivals, emphasizing that governance, not politics, must now take center stage. But the mood isn't as bright in the PDP camp. Dr. Sway Godalo, the PDP governorship candidate, in a strongly worded statement, described the ruling as, quote, coordinated robbery, saying while he accepts the finality of the verdict, he does not believe it represents true justice. It was part book launch, part political reflection, as Vice President Kashim Shettima spoke candidly about his time as Borno State Governor under President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. Speaking in Abuja, the nation's capital, at the launch of former Attorney General of the Federation, Mohammed Adoke's new book, OPL 245, Inside Story of the $1.3 billion Nigerian oil block, VP Shettima described himself as one of the most demonized figures of that era, offering a rare insight into the tension and turbulence of those years. Our Channels Television's Benny Ark now reports.
It was a full house at the Shehu Musa Yaradua Center in Abuja as former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Mohammed Bello Adoke, presents his book titled OPL 245, Inside Story of the $1.3 billion Nigerian oil block. The book gives an insider account of the controversial Malibu oil deal, a transaction that attracted global scrutiny and legal challenges across several countries. The event is a gathering of former top government officials like never seen in recent times. In attendance were the Vice President, 7 former governors, former federal lawmakers, ministers, senior advocates, diplomats, and journalists, all drawn to a narrative still stirring national debate.
Many of us here may recall that shortly after the administration of President Jonathan came to an end in 2015, the succeeding government launched what many people saw as a manhunt against key officers of the President Goodluck's administration. The author of this memoir, Mr. Bello Adoke, was the Attorney General of the Federation at that time. He was hunted across the globe, but today he's alive, he's healthy, he's here to tell his story.
Speakers at the event called for the respect for the rule of law and an end to political witch hunts targeting public officials.
Mohammed Bello Adoke was one of those that stood and persuaded President Jonathan to actually concede the 2015 election. So, we should actually thank him as the APC government of 2015, not persecute him.
But I think there are 3 things we should all take out from here. One goes back to the fundamental basics of our society, which is the respect of the rule of law. We continue to see it as a continuous impact on every sector. What Mala Adoke has shown here is where the rule of law he's been a victim of that. And I'm sure not only him, even many of us.
In a deeply personal address, the author explains his intentions for writing the book.
It is important to assure you all that I did not set out to denigrate anyone, but to set the record straight and provide valuable insights into a transaction that was not only carried out in furtherance of the national interest, but also to safeguard Nigeria's economic interests as it relates to the exploitation of our hydrocarbon resources.
Vice President Kashim Shettima used the opportunity to call for national unity beyond politics and recounts his experience under former President Goodluck Jonathan when he served as a governor of Borno State.
In the last 4 years of the Jonathan administration, I was the most demonized person. I was the public enemy #1. Former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan GCFR, with whom we have shared the sword and have now recalibrated our relationship, was mooting the idea of removing this Borno governor. I admire Mr. Mohammed Bello Adoke fundamentally for his courage and for his convictions and for his capacity to stand for what he believes in. He told the then president that, Mr. President, you do not have the power to remove a sitting governor, not even a councillor.
The event ends with a strong message on the need for historical truth, legal reforms, and fairness in public service. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
It's another shake-up in the Senate, and once again, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan finds herself out of a key leadership role. This time, she's been removed as chair of the Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs, replaced by Senator Anyeka Mbasi of Akwa Ibom Northeast. The announcement came during plenary with no official reason given, but it's the second time this year she's been ousted from a committee position following her earlier removal from the Local Content Committee. A National Assembly correspondent, Gloria Umezoke, reports.
It's the last day of plenary for the week, chaired by the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio. As plenary commenced in a calm and routine manner, an announcement of a minor reshuffle by the Senate came as a surprise.
The new chairman of the Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs is distinguished Senator Anyeka Mbasi, and it will take effect from today.
The Senate President also hinted at a broader reshuffling of committee vice chairmanship positions.
We will make some changes to our vice chairmanship positions next week as a result of the fact that some of the senators have two vice chairmanship positions. In fact, I know of one who has 3. Maybe his name kept coming up, while others do not have. So, leader of the Senate, please assess to make sure everybody is carried along. Every senator should either be a chairman or a vice chairman so that we balance the situation.
This is the second time the Kogi Central Senator would be removed as chair of a Senate committee. Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan had previously chaired the Committee on Local Content until she was removed to head the Committee on Diaspora and Non-Governmental Organizations.
We are here primarily as senators to do our job, not for any particular committee responsibility. That is at the discretion of the Senate leadership and the selection committee. And I sympathize with her predicament. You know my position on that issue. I've never been in support of any parliamentary body that suspends members for long periods of time.
Separately, the Senate appealed to President Tinubu to support the NDLEA to pay a 200 million naira compensation to the family of a 2-year-old tragically killed by the NDLEA during its operation in Asaba, the Delta State capital.
Urge Mr. President to approve a financial compensation of 200 million to be paid to the family of the dead child as a result of the negligence or negligent action of the NDLEA staff.
This followed a petition submitted by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Ethics, Senator Neda Imaswan. The Senate observed a minute's silence for the deceased toddler. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Olukayode Ariwola, urges young lawyers to uphold professional ethics of the legal profession. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Supreme Court puts final stamp on Edo polls. Monday Okpebholo is governor. Asue Godalo concedes with reservations. Vice President Shetima opens all chapters, recalls being a target during the Goodluck Jonathan era at Abuja book launch. Senate sweeps out Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan from committee leadership. New chair takes the helm. And UK and France strike migrant pact. One in, one out policy aims to stem channel crossings. With over 80 proposed amendments on the table, the House of Representatives say this could be the most far-reaching constitutional review in Nigeria's history. The Deputy Speaker and Chair of the Constitution Review Committee, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, is urging the media to play a supportive role in educating Nigerians about the process, especially with 12 of the bills focused on improving the country's electoral system. He made the call while addressing media executives in Abuja.
The current constitutional review process is perhaps the most comprehensive in our nation's history, addressing fundamental issues that touch on governance, that touch on security, that touch on fiscal federalism, as well as inclusive representation. We are currently considering prior 5 constitutional alterations, grouping into thematic areas that reflect the aspirations and concerns of the Nigerian people. And those thematic areas are as follows: electoral reforms. With a total of 12 bills, our committee is collectively aiming to address the issues bordering on the conduct of general elections, which we are proposing, or these bills are proposing to be one day, single-day election. We're looking at issues that borders on decamping as a ground for impeachment. We're looking at independent candidature. We're looking at the establishment of a local government election commission. We're looking at the prevention of invalidation of election on grounds of deficiencies in a deputy's qualification. We're also looking at the appointment of chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission by a National Judicial Council, whether or not it is the right thing to do. We're looking at the prevention of a dual position of the party executive and elective office, among others. So structural enhancements such as the establishment of the Political Parties Registration and Regulatory Commission, known as the PPRRC, and the Electoral Offences Commission, the EOC, conclusion of pre-election matters and petitions before swearing in is also proposed for consideration.
Former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, is reiterating the need for young lawyers to uphold professional ethics of the legal profession in order not to run foul of the rules guiding its practice. He stated this during the call to bar ceremony held in Abuja for successful candidates who sat for the November 2024 bar final examinations. Justice Arowola, who is the chairman of the body of benches, says lawyers must live up to the requisite professional standards imposed upon them by the rules of professional conduct.
The hall is filled to capacity as the body of benchers concludes the 2025 call to bar ceremony in Abuja. A procession led by the chairman of the body of benchers signals the commencement of the ceremony. The House is called to order as the Director General of the Nigerian Law School presents his report.
The screening committee of the distinguished body has carefully perused the record of each of the aspirants and found them worthy presented for call to the Nigerian bar. I attest that they are fit and proper persons for call and admission to the Nigerian bar.
The ceremony is then performed by the chairman of the body of benchers.
I hereby admit each and every one of the 1,918 applicants herein present severally to the bar as barristers and solicitors. You may now put on your wigs.
The young lawyers wear their wigs to the admiration of their parents and guardians. Without mincing words, the chairman of the body of benchers reads the riot act to the new wigs.
I must reiterate at this point that the practice of law is not a right, but a privilege. This privilege can be lost should you fail to live up to the requisite professional standards imposed upon you by the rules of professional conduct.
One after the other, outstanding students file out to receive their awards. Among them are 5 internally displaced persons taking refuge in a camp in Edo State. They express their delights for emerging as young lawyers.
I'm really happy on the occasion of being called to the Nigerian bar, one of the biggest bar in Africa.
Today I'm so glad, so happy and excited that I've become a lawyer, a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria.
1,909 new wigs are called to the bar on the last day of the 3-day ceremony, bringing the total number of new wigs admitted into the profession this year to 5,728.
The Lagos State High Court sitting in Ikeja has declared illegal, null and void Union Bank's conversion of the sum of £130.7 million belonging to Nikon Investment Limited. Justice Olubunmi Abike Fadipe, in a judgment delivered on Wednesday, awarded the sum of 50 million naira against the bank for the unlawful conversion and another £1 million sterling as damages for the bank's breach of its fiduciary duties to Nikon Investment Limited, owned by Senator Jimoh Ibrahim. The court made the orders while delivering judgment in a suit filed since 2010 by the claimant, Nikon Investment Limited, against the defendant, Union Bank of Nigeria PLC. The bank is also listed as the counter-claimant in the suit, while Nikon, Global Fleet Oil and Gas Limited, and Senator Jimoh Ibrahim are the defendants to the counterclaim. In a 92-page judgment, a copy of which was obtained by Channels Television, the court held that the indebtedness of the sister company, Global Fleet Limited, to Union Bank, if any, is not payable or deductible from the £130 million fixed deposit of Nikon. According to the judgment, the defendant bank's unilateral act of converting £130 million from the claimant's fixed deposit account to US dollars or pounds without the due authorization and or mandate of the claimant, Nikon, is null and void, as the account was not tied to the indebtedness of Global Fleet Limited and was not meant in any way to provide security for the said debt. The court also held that the defendant bank cannot unilaterally deal with or make any deduction from the fixed deposit account of Nikon without the authorization, mandate or consent of the signatories of the fixed deposit account, nor can the bank unilaterally transfer money from the company's account to liquidate Global Fleet indebtedness to it without due authorization and or consent of the claimant. While setting aside all acts of the bank pertaining to and connected with the claimant's fixed deposit account vis-a-vis its conversion to US dollars, naira, for the unilateral liquidation of the indebtedness of Global Fleet Limited, the judge directed Union Bank to avail Nikon the statement of account of its fixed deposit account, as well as the reconciliation of same from inception till date. The court also directed the bank to render an account of all the transactions on Nikon's pound sterling fixed deposit account, together with all accrued interests on it. So let's now head to the nation's capital, and Gloria Umezuke is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Gloria. Over to you.
Thank you, Ayo. We begin in Kaduna State, where the government is planning to return 300,000 out-of-school children to the classrooms as part of an approach to tackle illiteracy by ensuring that no child is left behind in acquiring basic education. Governor Obasani made the disclosure at the maiden Kaduna Education Summit in the state capital. The governor reaffirms his administration's unwavering commitment to use education as a tool to combat poverty, insecurity, and other socio-economic challenges.
The Kaduna State Maiden Education Summit brings together national and international education stakeholders, including policymakers, private sector players, and development partners, to brainstorm, strengthen collaborations, and chart a new course for education transformation in the state. Themed Strategic Visioning for Educational Transformation, Developing a Kaduna State Educational Model, the summit aims to develop a strategic, data-driven roadmap for sustainable educational transformation in the state.
The CADA EduPact International Summit 2025 is not just an event on our calendar, it is indeed a clarion call for envisioning and reimagining an education system.
The federal government commends the state government for the initiative, describing the effort to improve education in the state as bold and strategic.
Kaduna is one of the top 3 states that has the highest state allocation budget to basic education in the country.
This summit provides a platform for charting a clear, bold, and inclusive course.
In his remark, Governor Obasani reiterates his administration's commitment to building a resilient, inclusive, and innovative education system.
When I assumed office as governor in May 2023, we made it abundantly clear that education will be the cornerstone of administration. We see it not merely as a sector to be managed, but as a powerful tool for individual empowerment and societal transformation.
He announces an ambitious plan to address the rising number of out-of-school children in the state.
We have distributed 1 million and 1.4 million instructional materials and provided 30,742 two-seater decks, a clear path toward our goal of returning 300,000 children to school and keeping them there.
The Kaduna Education Summit is expected to serve as a high-level platform to forge an educational pact between the government and the people.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's pension fund assets hit 24.10 trillion naira in April. It's a portfolio rebalancing. But that's in business news. Let's join the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. Now, community health with exciting developments from Mushin local government area in Lagos State, where the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company have expanded their Vision First Plus program to serve residents in the area. The initiative offers free eye care services to communities where they operate, aiming to combat preventable vision problems and enhance the well-being of residents.
The 4th edition of Vision First Plus Eye Care program goes to Mushin. The Palm Avenue Primary Healthcare Center serves as the venue for hundreds of residents who had arrived early on the second day of the outreach. Through the initiative, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Shell Nigeria Exploration and Petroleum Company, and other co-venture partners are delivering free comprehensive eye care service. These include eye screenings, surgical interventions, cardiovascular assessments, pharmaceutical services, general consultations, and treatment for minor ailments.
I'm so happy. 1.4 million is not a small, it's not a small money. One cannot just wake up and say, I want to go and do surgery without budgeting or having such money. It's a lot of money. I'm so happy.
I've saved over 100,000 for me so that I can be able to do the surgery. But for the opportunity that I see, I'm happy that the money I'll use it for something else.
During the official flag-off ceremony, representatives from NNPCL, SNEPCO, as well as officials from state and local government authorities gathered to reaffirm their commitment to improving the quality of life for Nigerians.
The Vision First Plus program is a testament to our partnership's dedication to providing accessible and comprehensive healthcare services. Since 2022, we have reached out to over 5,000 individuals, and I'm excited that this fourth edition will touch even more lives.
This year's outreach is particularly special as it is proudly supported by the Bonga North project as part of its social investment commitments. Following the final investment decision, FID, on Bonga North earlier this year, we are beginning to see the real benefits materialize, starting with initiatives like this that deliver direct and lasting value to communities.
I'm 100% satisfied for what I've seen here, and I want to use this opportunity to thank the NNPC, the UNESCO, and the Shell Petroleum and the rest of them for us to collaborate together and do this program.
The Vision First Plus program reflects a collaborative spirit dedicated to enhancing people's lives and highlights the importance of proactive health management, paving the way for a brighter future.
The Executive Director of the National Primary Health Care Development Agency, Mr. Dr. Muyi Aino, has affirmed that the administration of President Bola Tinubu is taking bold and concrete steps to reduce maternal and neonatal deaths in Nigeria. He stated this during the signing of a memorandum of understanding with 10 states benefiting from the Gates Foundation in Abuja. Dr. Aino described the agreements as a major milestone in the implementation of the flagship maternal and neonatal mortality reduction, innovation and initiative.
Officials of the 10 benefiting states of the Gates Foundation intervention in health are attending this meeting as part of efforts to improve maternal health and primary health care service in the country. The meeting aims to formalize the partnership between the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency and the participating states to unlock targeted funding from the Gates Foundation and other funding sources.
The purpose of today's meeting is really to concretize, to formalize an agreement between NPHCDA and your states to start to implement specific interventions with funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to the NPHCDA, but also we want to leverage pool funds from other sources, including a large anonymous donor, as well as government resources at the federal level. But the idea is to try to do a number of things, engage with you the way, as part of the SWOP, we want to engage with the states further, which is almost, in some sense, using the ELI approach, where if you're able to, do certain things to resource you at the state level. So rather than have the NPHCDA recruiting health workers for you, for example, you recruit the health workers, and then we give you the resources and back out our resources gradually.
The partnership is considered a major milestone in the implementation of the flagship maternal and neonatal mortality reduction innovation and initiative, a program that aims to rapidly reduce maternal and infant mortality through a coordinated sector-wide approach championed by the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate.
This project is not coming at the wrong time. This is the best time for it to come.
And the MOU we're signing today is equally good because this is not the first MOU that's happening between states and federal government or state partners. And the good thing is that with each MOU, there's always an improvement on the previous one.
The officials then put pen to paper, emphasizing their commitment to ensure implementation of the program.
Thank you very much, Niger State.
The federal government is hoping that the model will strengthen accountability in the health sector across states in the country.
That's it from the nation's capital. It's back to you, Ayo, for more on the news at 10.
Many thanks, Gloria. The governing board of the Niger Delta Development Commission, the NDDC, says it has repositioned the agency to become a model for sustainable development. Managing Director of the Commission, Mr. Samuel Ogbuku, who gave the indication during a one-day youth and women conference in Owerri, the Imo State capital, explained that the Commission is catering to the genuine interest of residents of the region through actionable policies and programs.
In continuation of the activities marking the 25th year anniversary of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Day 4 sees the hosting of the Youth and Women Conference. The landmark event center in Owerri, the Imo State capital, is the venue, and in attendance are youth and women from the 9 mandate states of the NDDC, government officials, National Assembly members, members of the board and management of NDDC, as well as the private sector. The chairman of the NDDC governing board notes that the commission will continue to prioritize women and youth development.
As we go along this journey as the 7th governing board of NDDC, we will continue to prioritize and recognize the women and the youth. And that is why we have set a special day today for the women and the youth. It's not all about infrastructural development and brick and mortar.
Next, the managing director of the commission asks the Niger Deltans to leverage on the new initiative called the Niger Delta Chamber of Commerce, as it is a means of supporting those in need of financial aid.
I want us to take advantage of the Niger Delta Chamber of Commerce.
Because you cannot come to NDDC to give you loan for agriculture, you cannot come to NDDC to give you money for entrepreneurship. We have decided to use the medium of the Niger Delta Chamber of Commerce to reach out to all entrepreneurs in the Niger Delta. Once you're a registered member of the Chamber of Commerce, all what we are doing is only to support the Chamber of Commerce to reach out to its members.
Delivering the message of the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodimma, the Deputy Governor, Chinyere Ekomaru, commends the NDDC board and encourages them to adopt the scale-up model used in Imo State to bring about growth in the region.
I pray they intensify efforts in more policies and programs that give women and youth priority attention. I wish to also urge the NDDC to understudy and, if possible, copy the Skill-Up Imo model through which the state trained and equipped 40,000 Imo youths on digital skills and replicate it in all the Niger Delta states.
The NDDC believes engagements like this will help build a more prosperous and peaceful Niger Delta.
And new just in, which has been a swift reaction from Union Bank there's talking about the judgment from the Lagos State High Court. Well, the Union Bank says it has acknowledged that judgment and indicated it will go on appeal. In a statement posted on the bank's website, Union Bank disclosed that their lawyers had been directed to immediately appeal the judgment. According to the bank, the court's findings, including its position on the consolidation of indebtedness, locus standi, and third-party liability, are at variance with established legal principles and the bank's understanding of the facts. Now, the bank also expressed confidence in its legal position, adding that it had previously transferred the relevant debt obligation to the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON. The Union Bank also assured its customers, partners, and the public that it will continue to operate with the highest levels of professionalism, ethical conduct, and legal compliance in all its dealings. The bank reiterated its unwavering commitment to acting in good faith, protecting stakeholder interests, and preserving the integrity that has defined the institution for over a century. Business News is up next with Dominic Iwiwo.
Thank you, Ayo. Welcome to Business News. Despite economic headwinds, Nigeria's pension industry sustained its upward trajectory as total pension fund assets rose to 24.1 trillion naira in May. This is according to the latest data from the National Pension Commission, PENCOM. The amount reflects a 1.91% month-on-month increase when compared with the 23.65 trillion naira assets value recorded in April. The data from PENCOM attributes this feat to a combination of new retirement savings accounts RSA registrations, robust investment income, and strategic reallocations across both fixed income and alternative investment classes. Now, Africa's leading and most profitable financial services group, Guarantee Trust Holding Company, or GTCO PLC, has recorded a significant milestone in its growth and expansion journey with the successful admission of its ordinary shares to the International Commercial Company's secondary listing category on the official list of the London Stock Exchange and the Financial Conduct Authority, FCA. The admission and unconditional dealing in the shares, which became effective by 8 a.m. UK time on July the 9th, under the ticker GTHC, now allows the Tier 1 financial services giants to trade on the main market for listed securities on the LSE. This follows the successful pricing of its fully marketed offering on the London Stock Exchange to raise gross proceeds of $105 million in exchange for 2.29 billion shares of new ordinary shares, which was supported by a strong book of high-quality, long-term institutional investors. The historic achievement makes GTCO PLC the first financial services institution in West Africa to dual list in ordinary shares on both the Nigerian and London stock exchanges, and it is expected that the shares will be transferable between the two exchanges. Concurrent with the offering, the company also gave notice of its intention to cancel the listing of its existing global depository receipts on the certificates representing certain securities category of the official list of the United Kingdom, Financial Conduct Authority, and the admission to trading of GDRS on the London Stock Exchange's main market for listed securities. Building on the momentum of the successful first tranche of its equity capital raise program in July 2024, which secured 209 billion naira, GTCO says it will deploy the proceeds from the offering to strengthen its capital base, meet its recapitalization targets, and fund strategic expansion across high-growth markets and priority sectors within and outside Nigeria. Still with Nigerian banks, Pan-African Financial Services Group, United Bank for Africa PLC UBA, has announced a strategic expansion plan into key markets across Africa. This comes after its top senior executives recently concluded the group's half-year business review at its global headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. In a statement released today, UBA says it plans to establish a new office in Saudi Arabia, marking a strategic move in the bank's global expansion agenda and reinforcing its ambition to deepen Africa's integration with key global markets. Now, Nigeria's stock market today posted its largest single-day gain in history as its benchmark performance indicator hits another milestone. Willie Bong tells us more.
Welcome to the stock market report. It's positive sentiments across board today. The oil share index galloped into a new record high today by over 2%, sitting pretty at 124,446, and the market value jumped by nearly 2 trillion naira to settle at 78.726 trillion naira. Big and small names were on fire today. MTN Nigeria added 35 naira to its share price. It closed at 390 naira. Let's check out more heavyweights that pulled their weight in the market. Okomu Oil, Nigerian breweries, and Honeywell Flour from the consumer goods sector. Okomu Oil added 35 naira. That's a massive addition to its share price, which is currently trading at 835 naira now. And the banking stocks also contributed to this fantastic close. We see it up 3.86%, nearly 4% up. And Let's zoom in on the stocks in that sector that boosted its gain, shall we? We see FBN Holdings up 1.04%, UBA 10%, massive gain. This is the outlier for today. UBA closed up with a massive gain, and we see Zenith Bank also up 7.46%, Access Holdings 3.82%, GTCO closed at 19 naira 50 kobo, and we see Zenith Bank trading in 63 naira levels. UBA closed up 39 naira. Also, CBN putting a pause to the forbearance for banks, as giving banks a bit of a breather and boosted investor confidence here. The numbers in the market speak volumes, I can tell you, but let's hope it's not too hot to catch. And those are the highlights. Will Ibong signing out.
And for the global stock markets, it's a fairly mixed close for Thursdays as investors shake off concerns over U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs. Here are some of the numbers. And that's it on business news. Back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Dominic. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer says Britain will begin returning migrants arriving in small boats to France in the coming weeks. This comes as the UK Prime Minister and his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron unveiled a migrants deal to curb channel crossings. Here's Simon Pusey with more international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. 10 crew members have been rescued and at least 3 others killed after a cargo ship was attacked by Yemen's Houthis and sank in the Red Sea. This video released by the group of a similar attack on a Greek-owned bulk carrier which was hit with drones, missiles, rocket-propelled grenades and small arms fire. The Liberian-flagged Greek-operated Eternity Sea was carrying 25 crew when it was hit. Some of the survivors were rescued by a European Union naval mission. The Houthis say they are targeting Israeli-linked ships as part of a campaign of solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza.
We affirm our continued effort to prevent Israeli maritime navigation in the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea. We reiterate our warning to all companies dealing with the ports of occupied Palestine that their vessels and crews will be subject to targeting wherever the armed forces can reach them, regardless of the ship's destinations.
The U.S. Embassy in Yemen said the Houthis had kidnapped many surviving crew members and called for their immediate release.
Yes, the Houthis are clearly back as a maritime threat actor, right? They never stopped attacking Israel. So despite all this talk about a ceasefire with the US, the attacks on Israel continued. But indeed, we haven't seen any real attacks on merchant shipping since December last year. And they're back with a bang.
President Volodymyr Zelensky has said a massive overnight Russian attack has hit Ukraine's capital Kyiv, killing at least 2 people and injuring 16. The attack involved 18 missiles and around 400 drones, primarily targeting the capital. Authorities in Kyiv said drone wreckage hit the roof of a residential building and fires burned across the city. The attack comes a day after Donald Trump said he was angry at Mr. Putin for continuing the strikes. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has said he is ready to match any tariffs imposed on Brazil by the United States. Lula was responding to Wednesday's threat by his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump to impose a 50% import tax on Brazilian goods from the 1st of August. In a letter, Mr. Trump cited Brazil's treatment of the former president Jair Bolsonaro as a trigger for the tariff hike. Mr. Bolsonaro is currently on trial for allegedly attempting to stage a coup against Lula after being defeated by him in the 2022 election. Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron have been holding talks to finalise a plan on tackling migrant crossing on the Channel on small boats. Under the so-called one-in, one-out plan, Britain would accept asylum seekers from France with a UK connection in exchange for returning some migrants to France. Around 50 migrants could be sent each way per week under an initial pilot, a tiny fraction of the usual numbers crossing the Channel.
In this new world, our alliances are, in my view, more important than ever. The strength and solidarity of countries that share the same values, the same aims, the same hope for the future.
We are totally committed to this work in common, hand in hand, to be sure that the United Kingdom and France will put their energy to build, let's say, a better place, a better world.
Pakistan police have arrested 149 people in a raid on a scam call centre. The country's National Cyber Crime Investigation Agency said it acted after a tip-off about the network, which was operating in the city of Faisalabad. It said the centre was involved in Ponzi schemes and tricked people into handing over vast sums of money in the name of fake investments. Those arrested included 78 Pakistanis, 48 Chinese nationals, 8 Nigerians, 4 Filipinos, 2 Sri Lankans, 6 Bangladeshis and 2 Myanmar nationals. And dramatic CCTV footage has shown the moment an escaped pet lion leapt over a concrete wall before attacking a woman and her 2 children. Police in Pakistan have arrested the owners of the big cat, which chased the woman down as terrified onlookers ran for safety. The woman and her children, aged 5 and 7, sustained injuries to their arms and faces, but are now in a stable condition.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Simon, welcome to Sports News. 9-time African champions, the Super Falcons of Nigeria, are through to the quarter-final of the Women's African Cup of Nations in Morocco. It was not an easy ride for Nigeria as they had to wait until the 88th minute to get the win, as they maintained lead in Group B with 6 points. Chinwendu Ihezue got the late winner, scoring in a second consecutive game off the bench. Earlier, Tunisia and Algeria played out a tense goalless draw in Casablanca. And Wiki Tourist and Barao FC have secured promotion to the Nigeria Premier Football League for the next season. Both teams advanced following wins in their final group games in the Nigeria National League Super 8 playoff played earlier today in Asaba. Barao FC beat Doma United 2-0 in Group A, while Wiki Tourist thrashed the Yobe Deserts Stars 4-0. Meanwhile, Warri Wolves and Kun Khalifat FC also gained promotion to the NPFL from Group B. Kun Khalifat edged Osun United 2-1, while Warri Wolves also triumphed 2-1 against Crown FC. That sports is back to you, Ayo.
Many thanks, Chris. And just before we round off, the FCT Administration's Ministerial Committee, which comprises a joint security task force, has arrested over 200 beggars around the nation's capital. Now, the FCT Administration's Director of Gender, Social Development Secretariat, Gloria Onwuka, made the disclosure after the enforcement exercise at the FCT Vocational Rehabilitation Center, Kuchiko Buhari Area Council, where the beggars are kept. And the main news again. The Supreme Court today put a final stamp on the Edo governorship polls. Senator Monday Okpebolo affirmed as the governor of Edo State. Well, that's news at 10 to 9. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. You have a good night.